So there was another interview that your man Terrence Crawford put out.
Kate Abdo put it out.
But it was the reason that it got attention. It was, she's a lovely lady, beautiful woman, but it was because of Terrence Crawford did a video with Kate Abdo, and I wouldn't say that. Well, I take that back. There's not a lot of new information that we can kind of add to this conversation, but I do like that she challenged him on a couple of points. I think that she did a better job than, say, Max Kellerman, who seemed to kind of be in bed with
I thought he was blowing him up under the table.
I thought that was, but so Kate Abdo talked about a couple of things, and she said that, what do you think are your signature wins at this point, right? There's another point that she got to, and then so Bud kind of rattled off about 5 signature wins. He started out with Ricky Burns, Yuriokis Gamboa, Victor Postal. He had a couple other names in there, but I am a Bud fan. I was not impressed with those wins.
Well, let's back up for just a quick second, Ken, because the mistake I think Kate Abdo made, and with all due respect to Kate, I like Kate a lot. She's very talented. And the mistake a lot of these interviewers make, and the talking heads make, is they don't clearly define what it is they're asking. So if I ask Bud, I say, hey, Bud, do you have any signature wins? And by signature wins, I mean XYZ, thus and so. So before we go,
man, you trying to give him a softball. Everybody in fucking boxing them knows that. Hey, give me your signature win. You gonna give your best win.
A signature win? What does a signature win mean? Because there's no point talking about that we don't delineate criteria. What is it? So tell me what it is.
No, I mean,
your best win, the one that put you on stage, to put you as a household name, being like, yo, man, I beat the guy. So I'm the shit now. Tell me that
is it, right? So with that,
you just made that up. Don't know what it is. That's the problem. That's the problem.
For example, it is that it is particularly a win where the fight is seen as kind of a 50-50 fight, and it really kind of separates you from your boxing peers at the time. So with Floyd Mayweather, one of his first signature wins was against Diego Corrales. Clearly, with Sugar Ray Leonard, right, one of his signature wins was he knocked out, Tommy Hearns.
Somebody who is fight going in, right?
Yeah, but let me finish my point. But for somebody who is clearly saying that he views himself as an all-time great, for you to throw out names like Ricky Burns and Yuriokis Gamboa, who was like coming up, who had really done nothing at the super lightweight level. And then
he fought Gamboa at lightweight.
I thought that was super lightweight.
Negative.
He fought him at lightweight, but that was his second fight at lightweight. His first one, he had.
I'm just making sure that
they had established that Yuriokis Gamboa was a champion at the time.
Light.
Okay, so
continue, Cam.
That's right. Yeah, it was lightweight, but I'm sorry, I'll take that. But this was a Yuriokis Gamboa who started off at 126, who started off as a featherweight. So he was 2 weight divisions above. So I do stand corrected. And then he even brought in Jeff Horn, and I'm like, these are your signature wins.
And what killed me?
Go ahead, Casual.
What killed me, he did say at the end, he said Porter and Brooke and Khan. You know what I'm saying? And then, but in his same breath of saying those is his signature wins, he was like, oh, but Spence fought him. He already got a broken eye. And Porter, you know what I'm saying? He already had losses. But how is it negative when Spence fought him first and beat him, but then when Crawford fought him, it was Crawford signature wins?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that a lot of those fighters he named weren't. I guess, how Cam defined signature wins and what I might think of as a signature win. But the one thing I want to bring up is that when we're talking about signature wins, the quality of the opposition is not necessarily the end-all be-all. And I'll give you one example when it comes to Devin Haney. Devin Haney beat what I consider to be a good fighter, a solid fighter, but not at all any kind of elite level guy in George Kambosos, but he became undisputed in doing so. You can't say that was not a signature win for Devin Haney becoming undisputed, even though he beat what I would consider a B- level C+ guy. So when it comes to this discussion, I think it's important that we look at all the factors that go into.
Okay, but you know what I'm saying? Like, so my retort to that is like Haney is still building his legacy, and up to now, Kambosos is a signature win.
I don't necessarily look at it as
but when you're looking at Bud is 35 in the twilight of his career, and if you're saying a fucking Victor Postal or Ricky Burns is your, you know what I'm saying, signature win, that's the best that you're going to get. You're only going to get maybe one or two more fighters that he probably got less than 4 fights left in his career.
I mean, Postal was a good ass win.
And Gamboa and Hank Lundy and Victor Postal is the best. And you know,
wait, he didn't say Hank Lundy though. He didn't say Hank Lundy.
He didn't, but I'm saying, but those are like B-level fighters. And you
Postal is not a B-level guy. Who? Not that version of Postal that he fought. That Postal who knocked out Lucas Matisse, that guy was not a B-level guy.
Postal is not going. Postal is a decent fighter, but Postal
that's inaccurate.
Postal, when it's all said and done, when you talking about Mayweather, you talk about fucking all the greats. And talk about who they fought to become a great. You're not gonna say Crawford fought Postal.
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather fought much better opposition than all these guys, though. So if we're comparing Crawford next,
you know what I'm saying? Like
even Crawford in a vacuum.
You know what I'm saying?
Hold on one second. When it comes to Postal, I disagree with that. I think Postal was a unification fight. And that's why I brought that shit up before. When you say signature win, you cannot just look at, I think that fighter, whoever he's fighting is not the best fighter, especially when it's a unification fight. It's a there's no context where in a unification. You said what?
I mean, Victor Postal, that's kind of a stretch. I
don't know that it is a stretch, but again, it was a unification.
Lucas Matisse was a very one-dimensional fighter. This dude got outboxed and knocked down by Danny Garcia. Like, I mean, come on. Like, I think that he
didn't get stopped by Danny Garcia though. Postal was the first guy to stop Matisse. Matisse, who, if I'm not mistaken, had just come off a win against Provodnikov. Provodnikov, who almost sent Tim Bradley to the hospital.
But
Postal was a good win.
But the thing is that I always have trouble with a fighter who not his legacy, but his kind of cachet is built off of having a good loss. And that's the only reason why we talk about Provodnikov. It's just because he had a very good close loss against Tim Bradley. But besides that,
but Matisse had good wins.
What was his best win?
Off the top of my head,
I know what I think it is, but what do you think it is?
I don't know. I have to go look at Matisse's box rec, honestly.
Well,
if you had asked me a year ago, I would have known.
It was Matisse had a run where he smashed Lamont Peterson, right? When Lamont Peterson just fought a terrible fight, and then right before that, he knocked out Mike Davis with the one-punch knockout, had him frozen. So he was just looked as this boogeyman in there. But then he got, I wouldn't say he got exposed in there, but he got thoroughly outboxed by Danny Garcia. But I mean, to your point, he has a few losses. So he lost to Zab Judah.
Yeah, a lot of people thought he won that fight too.
Yeah, a lot of people. That's why I said which was controversial. Then he lost to Devin Alexander.
A lot of people thought he might have
won that fight too. And then after that, he started just laying people out because, and to the point he said, like, I'm tired of going to the scorecards and all of this. And then that was that. You remember that fight? We were actually all there for that fight when he fought Danny Garcia.
We were. That was on the Canelo undercard. But look, the point is, the Postal fight is a unification fight, right? He fought Postal for the WBC belt. Am I mistaken? Terrence Crawford fought Postal for the
It was for the WBC and WBO. Yeah.
That's in no universe of boxing is a unification fight, not a signature win, right? Can we, regardless of what you think of Postal, it's a unification fight.
Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? But like we said, like
Postal was undefeated at the time.
Postal was undefeated.
Have some lesser champions, some people that made some boxers that got a belt that's a lesser fighter. My thing is about legacy. You know what I'm saying? We are talking about legacy versus money, which there was a topic on the show a little bit later. But right now we're talking about legacy. And then
we were talking about signature wins.
Because of signatures win. So when you talk about signature wins towards legacy, 10 years from now, when you bring up Crawford, you're not going to say, "Hey, he beat Postal." You know what I'm saying? When you talk about Mayweather and signature wins, you're gonna say Pac-Man. And it says when you pull up Sugar Ray Leonard, you're gonna have signature wins. When Andre Ward has a signature win, Roy Jones have a.
I'm not gonna say Pac-Man. I'm not gonna say Pac-Man.
But Randy,
you don't think?
But Randy, there's
wins.
Randy, no one.
I don't think
Crawford to any of those guys though.
No, what
no
I was
one's
saying is
comparing
like
Crawford to Leonard or Pacquiao
I'm
or
talking
Mayweather.
about when we talk in 10 years, when you talk about Crawford and signature wins, it is not going to be no fucking Postal.
It may not be, Randy, but we are going to say he was a 3-division champ, and he was. And this is another point that he brought up. He was the second fighter to become a 4-belt undisputed. No, third. The third in the history of the sport to become a 4-belt undisputed.
But that's a whole.
I had no idea that I was. I had to look that shit up.
I mean, but that was just only a product of them coming up with another belt. Like there were 3-belt undisputed champions.
I understand that.
Come up with another belt.
But when you make boxing history, Cam, it's not insignificant, and I get it.
Why you bring that up? I think that's why the Errol Spence fight isn't happening now. I think Crawford is more in love with his fucking his legacy and the shit that he did in the past. He will not give Spence a chance for that 4-belt. And I promise you, they'll fight at 154. I guarantee you they'll fight at 154.
I mean, I disagree with that. I think that
I totally agree with that, man, dude.
Hold on. As a boxer, that just keeps him up.
If you listen to the K Abdo interview, he talks about the fight in the past tense. He said, "I did want that fight. I wanted that fight," meaning he don't want that fight no more. So he's him at 154. He ain't gonna fight him at 147. I promise you that.
He's also said the plan is still to fight Errol Spence. Everyone in this team has said the plan is still at 154. But what difference will it make if he fights him at 154? I mean, it's not going to be undisputed
so that's his plan. So if he fight him at 154 and Spence whoops his ass, he still ain't going to be the fucking unified champion at 147, which what Spence wanted to be.
Oh, you think he's just trying to block Errol Spence from becoming
because you know what I'm saying? So like one part of the Abdo conversation when he was talking about lineal champion, he was like, Spence ain't lineal champion. The number one champion, the number one belt is what? The fucking
he said the Ring Magazine.
The Ring Magazine lineal champion, right? But if you go on Ring Magazine, that motherfucker ain't even the Ring Magazine number one at 147.
There's no lineal champion. Like a lineal champion is somebody that you can kind of track from fight.
So he was alluding that he was the lineal champion by beating Jeff Horn that beat Pacquiao, that he's the lineal champion, and then he was trying to say that he was the Ring Magazine pound for pound. Ring Magazine number one at 147, which is untrue.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't get that, but if you think that's what he was alluding
that was
to,
like to go back to the last time
Go
that
back
there
to
was
the interview. He did. He said. I know. He asked K Abdo. He was like,
I know, Randy. I was trying to make the point. What I'm saying, the last time that there was anything close to a lineal champion at 147 was when Carlos Baldomir had beat Zab Judah, but because of BS sanctioning, rules, they didn't even give Carlos Baldomir all of the belts. In the sense, I think Zab actually able to keep a belt.
So what?
Well, Baltimore didn't want to pay the sanctioning fee. Was what happened.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, that's still. He didn't want to pay one of the sanctioning fees.
What was Crawford's point when he was saying that Spence wasn't he was the lesser champion, and the Ring magazine is the most elite, and then the lineage. I mean, he was like.
Well, from what I remember from the conversation, Kate Abdo had alluded to Devin Haney saying something about the Ring magazine, and then Devin Haney doesn't even acknowledge it. And then Crawford said that Devin Haney was lying. Was what I remember from that.
Yeah,
and I remember him mentioning that in respect to Spence, though. I thought it was more to Devin Haney.
To say that the Spence's 3 belts didn't mean shit because he wasn't the Ring magazine belt. He was like, the rest of them you gotta pay to have. The Ring magazine is the people's champ. So he was alluding that he was the people's champ. But if you go on the website, it is vacant. If they look, you go to 147, it's vacant. And then they have Earl Spence as 1 and Crawford as 2.
It should be vacant because there's no lineal champ at welterweight.
I'm just going by y'all. We were supposed to talk about the K Abdo interview. I'm giving you what.
No, but
we hear you. We just that's not what we got.
We're just saying like it's just cap. Like he just I don't think I was, I found myself kind of rolling my eyes at the point. I like it a lot more when Bud is talking with his fists and not talking to interviewers.
And dude, man, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I said earlier, man. At this point, with all the information, like I understand what Andre Ward said. Even though I know Andre Ward is a company man, just like all the rest of them are company man. Whatever side they on, that's who they leaning towards, is leaning on. But I'm saying with all the information that we have, that all these boxing pundits, all these, you know what I'm saying, reporters, whatever, all the information that we have, I lost the train of thought. Motherfucker,
I don't know where you going with this.
You know what I'm saying? With all the information, you either gonna still be Team Crawford or you gonna still be Team Spence, man. So
yeah, it shouldn't be that way. That's the problem with all this shit.
Until this paperwork gets put out and published, man.
I don't think. I think that people would, not agree with that. But for me, I just want to see I just want to see the fight, and I think that's.
Everybody wants to see the fight.
That's Boston's point. But no, that's not your point. You're saying that everybody has to go. Randy's like, a lot of the times we've agreed with you on a point, and then you just kind of just because you're so entrenched and being like, no, it's this side versus that side. I'm just like, no, like, bro, like we're agreeing with you.
But it is.
Like he's cap. It's doing that. It's like, no, you said that. Like, no,
side versus the other. Like you like. People ain't gonna
have to be that. Like, listen, if we do that, then we all gonna like miss out. Like, and like Crawford, I think gets to Crawford and Spence get the benefit from people just being so entrenched into one side of this argument.
Yeah,
that what it comes down to is that we need this legacy fight. So I think that
the further this goes
on, switch it up a little bit.
Going to happen. It's not going to happen at 147. I believe if it happens, it's at 154.
Do we want to talk legacy here? Because that was another topic of the.
That's why I wanted to make a transition to kind of legacy and like legacy fight. So we talked about Crawford ad nauseum. So let's talk about Spence, and let's look at his legacy. So Spence has always been at 147 pounds. He's somebody who has a right. He's kind of had these stories about him that came out before he even kind of rose to prominence, right? So it was these sparring wars that he had where he kind of laid into people like Mayweather and Broner. So and he was also an Olympian. So do you think that he is somebody who is in the need of kind of a legacy fight to really establish his prominence in this current kind of milieu of boxers, or do you think that he's done that at this point? We'll start with
you. So are you asking about securing his legacy or Hall of Fame? What is you said legacy?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I think those go those things go hand in hand.
You're right. So yeah, the short answer to the question is yes. I mean, he's on a shorter list, having unified. He's a 3-belt unified champ. But if you look at that list of 3-belt unified champions, it's probably a lot longer of a list than people realize. His strength of opposition has been solid, I think. But again, doing what he did at one weight class is not going to really separate him from the guys who are the historically very, very good fighters and historically elite. He's got a long way to go, and he needs to move up in weight. I was hoping he'd move up in weight sooner. Yeah, I mean, look, if you look at guys who are legendary guys who dominated at one weight class, 2 names come to my mind, and that's Carlos Monzon and Marvin Hagler. And if you look at what Monzon did across 50 some odd fights and what Hagler did across 50 some odd fights in one weight division, guys like Spence and Gennady Golovkin, even though I know he went up and fought Canelo at 168 pounds, those guys, it's not even close. Now, Spence beats Crawford and becomes undisputed. He then leaps to the forefront, right? Just being undisputed alone, because his journey to undisputed will have separated them. But right now, he's in desperate need of that fight. He's at 30-something years old.
You think he doesn't get that fight, that it damages his legacy?
Yeah, he's gonna have to. If he can't get the fight for whatever reason with Crawford, he's got to move up and start taking on those tough competitions at 154 pounds. Hopefully, Jermell Charlo vacates maybe and goes up to 160 pounds to allow him to pursue those opportunities. I mean, Charlo is already undisputed. They're both Al Heyman guys, so hopefully, if he can't get this Crawford fight, hopefully that's what happens next. He goes up to 154 and pursues titles and unification fights at 154 because he needs it if he's interested in really cementing his legacy.
I mean, but that's always been the plan. I mean, what's so obvious, you know what I'm saying? What's so unique about Spence is he laid out the plan. There's no guessing into him. He's been wanting to unify this at 147, and then he said he was moving up to 154. So you know what I'm saying? Like, but then he tweeted out like last month, he was like, hey man, I've been at 147 too long. Like, either I need to get this fight or I need to move up. But you know what I'm saying? Like you said, he really wants the unification fight. So it's not like he's like avoiding the unification fight and then jump up. I give him more credit that they're trying to wipe out his at 147, then move up, than him having 1 or 2 belts at 147 and 1 belt at 154 and then 1 belt at 160 and then retire. I give him more credit for trying to unify 147. If it doesn't happen, is not my opinion, is not any fault of his own. And then if he has to move up 154, naturally, like we all know that man, dude, the older you get, it's harder to make that weight. So he's gonna have to move up. And like you said, I think that conversation's already been had with the Charlos. Who's like, look, man, I'm going to 154. So if you want to hold on the belts, you know what I'm saying, what we gonna do? I think the plan was everybody move up. I just think the Charlos, I don't, not Jamel, you know what I'm saying? Jamel's been doing what he need to do. You know what I'm saying? So I never knock Jamel. Jamal, on the other hand, that's another conversation. I don't know if he want to move up the 168, but at 160, you know what I'm saying? They talking about stripping his ass for his 1 belt. So Jamel needs to move up there and start doing the work that his brother didn't do. And then let Spence get at it at 154 after this Crawford fight. But if he doesn't get the Crawford fight, then then he needs to move up. And then if he moves up to 154, if I was Spence, I'll treat Crawford just like he treated Thurman.
And not fight him?
And not fight him. There's no reason to fight him at 154.
That's the whole problem with boxing.
That's the problem. That's the
motherfuckers
problem.
Getting mad and not fighting people as opposed to getting mad and fighting.
I mean, but
so like Randy,
the fight is that
if people listen to you, then we're not gonna get the fight. We're not going to
get the fight. The fight is at 147, gentlemen. The fight is at 147. If Crawford don't want to fight him at 147 for whatever reason that he had, then don't fight him.
And then fight who at 154?
He can't go nowhere.
That we're so excited about.
If he goes 154 and if Charlo still has the belt and Spence is at 154, where the fuck Crawford? Who's gonna fight Crawford? Where's Crawford?
I know, but I know you were saying that same shit a month ago before he signed to fight David Evanesian for $10 million. Where is he gonna go? Who's he gonna fight?
Exactly.
Sign the contract. Blah blah.
So if you saying that David Evanesian is an avenue and a fight that he should have took, then good on you. But
no, I didn't say that. But what I'm saying is, Randy. But Randy, no, what I'm saying is that you were saying the same thing now that you were saying 2 months ago. Where's Crawford going to go? What's he going to do?
It holds true today.
No, it doesn't, because he found the fight.
Randy, what I'm saying is just that he's going to do what he wants to do. But when we got voices like you, it'd be like, if I was him, I wouldn't even fight him.
If you don't fight him at 147 because he
just fight him. I don't care. Just fight him. Just fight him.
Why? We shouldn't be putting that shit in the atmosphere, man. We should be like,
why do we have boxing, man? To see who's better. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
Look, he did the same thing to Thurman. He was like, "Hey, man, if you don't fight me now, we ain't gonna fight." He did it with Thurman,
that's some whack ass shit right there. That shit is. I hate that shit. Why not beat his ass?
But dude, y'all saying this shit because I'm saying it, but Crawford is saying the same exact thing.
Randy, I don't care who says it. I don't care who says it. I don't care if my mama was saying that if I was Spence, I wouldn't fight Crawford. I'd be like, what are you talking about, mama? I want to see them fight. I don't care who says it.
Dude.
Yeah, everybody should fight everybody. That's the message we should be conveying out here.
The fight is at 147.
Which fight are you talking about?
Spence Crawford is at 147. If Spence waits another year and then in 2024 moves up to 154 and be like, hey man, I'm done with it. He has every right to be like, fuck Crawford. And if Crawford moves up to 154, he'll be like, man, I ain't fighting you. Fuck you, because we supposed to did it at 147.
Yeah, I think that's a horrible attitude for any kind of fighter to have. I'm not fighting you because I'm mad at you. Where you could fight the motherfucker you mad at and make a lot of money and beat somebody ass.
But this will be another year, a whole number year at 147. And you telling me it couldn't be made in a whole nother year? So if he moves up, that proves
that's not what I'm saying.
My point the whole way with that saying that Crawford don't want the legacy fight at 147 because he don't want to get that's the legacy.
It's like it doesn't have to be about proving a point. I think it's just like if everybody just gets off of that and like let's just find some common ground that would just get these two guys in the ring. I think that everybody benefits from it. And that's why I think it's important to acknowledge just follies on both sides of the argument or whatnot. Like it doesn't have to be like, well, it was your fault, and then you can like stand on that. That's just the ones who come out on the short end of the stick are the boxing fans, and that's right. That's all of us.
That's right. It's hard for me to believe that Crawford doesn't want to become the first fighter ever to become a 2-division undisputed in the 4-belt era. There might have been another guy at some point who was.
Did you not listen to the K? Did you not listen to the K Abdo interview?
I did, Randy. I'm not getting the same shit. Your interpretation of it is different from mine, dude. All that shit you said, that's not what I got from that shit.
But he was like, if the fight don't happen, man, I'm already the Ring magazine at 140 ESP 2 years in a row. We on the fight. He got a bunch of accolades. Like, man, I don't care about it. So to me, it's not. He not pressing for it. He not pressed for it. he okay with the laws that he already did, so he's not gonna be like, yo, I'm hungry to get this next unification.
And that's right. And then Spence is tweeting. So that's
right. And Spence tweets.
So I mean, Cameron, you say that. So if I tweet, you know what I'm saying? Like if me and you were beefing, and I tweet, yo, when I see you, I'm gonna smack the shit out you. And then I see you, you're gonna be like, hey, talk that shit. You said you're gonna smack the shit out of me. So that, but I was like, man, that was just a tweet. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can't. People say a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? We don't like people that die off the shit that they tweeted. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about that unless you're from Chicago. But I don't. People say a lot of. I've seen people threaten Deontay Wilder on tweets and saying, talk about his family and do that.
So my thing is, so I see it this way. One person went on live and read cue cards and then like, yo, didn't take no questions.
How many interviews?
Huh?
And then did how many interviews?
No, I'm talking about the one because this happened before the interview. So you can't bring that. He got on live and said his whatever his truth is or whatever he thought in his mind. And then the next person got on in a conversation with that person. He didn't go on live to the ether. He went straight to the conversation. Me and you.
That's not true. That's not true. A conversation.
Oh my God.
With Terrence Crawford.
The both of them were talking
a conversation with Terrence Crawford called him. He didn't go on a public platform
and talk to the person. That's not true.
And talk to them.
So you say it's the same. So hold on, Cameron. On the same thing. So if I text you, you telling me that's not communication. If me and you texting, that's not communication.
That's private. That's
a yes or no answer. If I text you, that's not communication.
That's not a conversation. You change your words.
So you saying you can't have a conversation?
Right, y'all you doing that shit, man.
So first you said a conversation, and then you said
shit.
Did you not move the goalpost? Did you first? You said this person had a direct conversation, and then you said,
"So Cameron, if I text you and you text me back, that's not a conversation."
Listen, if somebody says, "Yo, like, have you talked to Randy and stuff like that?" I'm be like, "No."
It's a yes or fucking no answer. If I text you and you text me back, that's not a conversation.
No. Not if somebody out there. If I didn't talk to you, if you didn't do that. I would say that we text or whatnot. There's a difference between calling somebody and then conversing with them.
Man, that's
having a conversation.
Because this age right now, people will text. People got Snapchat. The people got all of these are conversations.
How come Terrence called
platform?
How come Terrence called? I mean, how come Terrence called Spence then?
So a letter. You know what I'm saying? God damn, Cameron. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying what I'm saying. Like to me, it says a lot more that if you're really trying to get something done, you're gonna like, yo, let's.
Cameron, if I send you something, if I send you a text, you send me a text, I send you a text back, and you send me a text. Come on, you can't tell me that's not a conversation.
Listen, if somebody is like somebody, like, did you talk to somebody? If did you talk to your mom on her birthday or whatnot? And if I send her a text and be like, happy birthday, and then if I say like, yeah, I did talk to her, that's cap. If I didn't call my mom and say happy birthday,
we kind of going off on a tangent now.
Hold on, Cameron. Hold on, Jared. Cameron, you're a professor. You just said if I said happy birthday, I understand that's not a conversation. But if your mom respond back and be like, thank you, baby, and you go respond back, what you doing today? And she reply, I'm going to the mall. And then that's a fucking conversation.
All right. Well, we'll agree to disagree on what's considered a conversation. The only reason I brought this shit up was because it just seems it's kind of interesting to me that a guy in Crawford has done several interviews explaining his side of the story. And We haven't seen anything from this guy, Spence. All we've got is a bunch of tweets.
I go back to the same shit. Like if me and you having a conversation and I accuse you of lying, you gonna come back and be like, man, I ain't no lying, you lying. That motherfucker said, look, we gave you a contract on August 4th. He didn't rebut that. But then he came back and said, hey, yeah, y'all gave me that, but y'all thought my team was weak, and we sent back, we rebutted that shit. And then Spence came back and was like, yo, the same three things, the three issues that you came back with in that contract was the same three things that we had in the original contract.
Randy, where is Errol Spence? Where is he?
In Texas.
Terrence Crawford has done 4 interviews since this whole thing went down. Why hasn't Errol Spence come out and done any interviews?
Why do he have to? That's my thing. Why does he have to?
Because the fans, boxing fans, and people in the boxing media would like to address questions regarding the
because you know what I'm saying. So
I know me as a fan. Wait, you asked me a question. Let me answer the question. Me as a boxing fan, I would love for Kate Abdo or Barack Barr, whatever the niggas are from the zone, Akim Barack, Max Kellerman. I would love for Errol Spence to sit down with any of those people and let them ask him questions about what went down and let him articulate and explain shit. That's all I'm saying. Even if he's just reading off a fucking cue card, I would just like to see that as a boxing fan.
That don't mean one fucking Crawford is doing all these interviews, not let's get this right, not to clarify the Spence Crawford shit. He doing these interviews to fucking try to sell this goddamn shitty ass fight December 10th. Let's get that straight first and foremost.
Oh yeah, I don't know, but I don't agree with that necessarily.
I don't know about that.
Bullshit. Where have you
ever watched the Max Kellerman fight? If you watch the Max Kellerman fight, did they bring up his fight at all? Like
yes, they did.
I didn't watch it.
Yes, they did. Each one they talked about BLK Prime in their next fight. So don't go with me there. Only reason
I didn't see
Crawford
that
is notorious for not doing interviews, not promoting fights. But now all of a sudden that motherfucker on TV every other day.
Now that is true. That is a good point. I agree with that. That is true. That is true. I
mean, to me, it seemed like that, but I watched I'll go back and look. And I'll kind of get there, but I watched the Max Kellerman fight.
So that's why I was trying to tell you earlier.
Nothing about it.
So that's why I was trying to tell you earlier. So he was saying that BLK Prime is the new wave in the future that's going to give you the best fights with the best fighters, which is all fucking cap. He's either, you know what I'm saying? Either he's bought in BLK Prime and he's an investor, or he just straight up fucking lying. Because you know what I'm saying? If everything is true and he getting 10 million or 10 million plus for this next fight, which is fucking guaranteed to make pennies.
No, it's not. You just made that up. To our audience, to be clear, this is crazy, ridiculous speculation.
Come on,
Randy, but go ahead. That's based off of absolutely nothing. You just made that up.
All right, let's revisit this December 11th.
Sure. I'm not saying you wrong, Randy, but you talking about it's guaranteed to make pennies, nigga. It's like you have no fucking idea how much it's gonna make.
All right, we don't know, but the fucking projections are in the projections. He already talking about is projected to do low, blah 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 blah. Terrence Crawford is already addressing this.
When you say the projections are in, what do you mean specifically?
The projection what the pay-per-views and gates going to make.
Do you have a news outlet or anybody reporting this anywhere?
Be a play reporter. I'm talking. So go watch the K Abdo. Terrence Crawford addresses the same shit.
Randy, so one credit, like I'm on this site and it says right here, no mention of the Dave Avanesian fight. Like I don't see. I watched his interview and there was not. Max did not ask him about I don't know.
We talking about K Abdo. We were talking about K Abdo.
I said the Max Kellerman fight. I mean the Max Kellerman interview.
Yeah, and Randy, you said specifically that only reason he's doing interviews is to promote the fight. And Cameron is saying he didn't even talk about the fight.
He didn't mention the We'll go back to that. I promise you, he mentioned it.
I just watched it, and that, like,
mentioning,
I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. This is like, you can read the comments on here. It's like, man, he's not even going to, like, because Matt Kellerman he put him on blast. He was talking about, like you think that you can, essentially have your legacy established without this fight, but he did not mention that.
He didn't mention. Wait. He didn't mention Ebenezer. He didn't mention Ebenezer. That's cap, bro. That's cap.
I mean, find it. I mean, go ahead. Like, we're about to go in there.
Watch it.
I mean, we got 20 minutes. We got 20 minutes to just sit and watch this fight.
No, it's only an 8-minute interview, man.
We'll pull it up, then play it. Then we got 8.
No. That was not in the pre-pro. We didn't talk about playing this shit. We could address this shit later.
Abinesian in that fight, bro. He mentioned Abinesian in that fight,
and then like, I was surprised.
I can go straight to the Abdo fight where I know for sure he discussed BLK Prime and how he's saying that that's the new way.
Yeah, I mean,
so my thing is, at the end he says, no, I'm not signed to BLK Prime. I'm just doing fight by fight and see how it goes. But if BLK is the prime, the future, I just call cap, man. They gonna lose. I don't have written in stone evidence, but
this is just pure speculation.
Man, I bet 100% that this fight with Crawford Avenue loses money if they pay him $10 million.
We'll have no idea, because no fight in the history of sports have we ever seen what the profit and loss sheet looks like. All we know is pay-per-view numbers, and nobody believes those anymore anyway. So this fight.
Well, now you sound like hey, nobody pay for pay-per-views. Nah, nobody.
No. What I'm saying is that
I guarantee on this. I bet that motherfucker don't sell more than 80,000 pay-per-views. And if he do 80,000 at $50, then tell me how if Bud Crawford is supposed to get the 9 figures that he was supposed that was advertised that he was going to get.
Whoa, 8 figures.
The 8 figures that he was guaranteed. I mean, they're supposed to get. And if they do less than 80,000 pay-per-views at $50, you tell me where this math is coming from.
I can tell you right now. I can tell you how much are they selling the tickets for. What about $50. Sponsorship? What about sponsorships? What about ad space? There's all kinds of ways that money can go there, especially if the money just came from a hedge fund.
Jared, this is what pissed me off about you, bro. So now you're talking sponsorship, ad space, and all this. But when we was fussing about this 2 weeks ago about PBC making this fight and getting the money. It was like, man, they died, man. They ain't got the money for that. But you know what I'm saying? You ain't bring this shit up then.
Because it's because you don't understand. You conflate arguments and you change criteria and you move goalposts so much, Randy, that you can't even get it straight in your own head. Randy, you just said that if they pay Terrence Crawford $10 million and they only do 80,000 buys, I guarantee they will lose money. Where is the money coming from? I told you where the money might be coming from.
Tell me
in regards to, hold on.
Because they're not advertising this fight.
Argument.
Because they're not advertising this fight.
You said, Jared, you said, where is the money coming from? I told you where the money might come from.
You said, Mike, so they're not advertising. They're not advertising.
No. Advertisements. This shit's gonna be on BLK Prime. If you are a Ford Motors, if you are Gatorade, you might want to pay for advertiser space on the stream.
Oh man, if you was Amazon, you just buy the whole box and then just pay all the
Let's move on to Canelo, dude.
Hypotheticals.
Yeah. Let's go ahead.
Y'all shit wobbly, man.
It's not on you. Hey, Randy, you asked the question, where does the money coming from? I told you where the money might come from.
But on the flip side of the coin, when I was talking about PBC and where the money in the contracts for the PBC fight, you didn't for some reason you didn't think about fucking promotions and sponsorships and all that shit then.
Because Randy, we're looking at the trend that PBC has gone through. They're putting garbage fights on pay-per-view. That tells me they don't have the money to pay for these fights.
They just did a $50 million fight.
Hold on one second.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all, you keep saying the little small shit, but they just did a $50 million fight. So when y'all say that Spence should have jumped on the 25 million, that's bullshit.
I mean, what does that mean when you say they did?
What $50 million fight did they just do?
Canelo Plant was a PBC fight at $50 million.
Yeah, they did $50 million for Canelo, and they knew they were going to get almost 1 million buys, which is what they did. But they're not going to give that money.
So they did 800,000, and then that same day in the same conversation, I said I gave all three of y'all honest opinion what the fucking fight was Spence Bud Crawford fight would do, and the minimum y'all said was 700,000.
No, that's not what I said at all. I definitely didn't say. I definitely didn't say. I said this fight probably does between 4 and 750. So 400 being the minimum, 750 being the max. I don't think this thing does anywhere close. I never said minimum.
Dave said 7. I said Dave said 7, and I said that it match 8. So you know what I'm saying? I don't understand what y'all saying, man. Y'all, I don't understand.
What I don't get what you don't get. I answered your question directly. You said they were going to lose money. Explain that math. I gave you my explanation for how they might make money potentially, right? Because BLK might not be paying for the fight. That $10 million Crawford's guarantee might be coming from an external source. So it might not even be BLK's $10 million.
Want to just give $10 million away because they ain't making that shit back.
We don't know, Randy. That's the point. So when you come out here and you say, oh, they're going to lose money and blah, 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 this, that, and the third, it's like, reckless speculation.
I don't know the sunshine going to shine. I'm not guaranteed. I don't guarantee the sun's going to shine tomorrow. But yes. I can figure that the fucking, when I wake up, the sun's going to be up there.
Again, apples and oranges, changing criteria, moving goalposts. This is your debate strategy.
We're close to an hour.
Jesus Christ. Well, what's the next topic, man? Because you know what I'm saying? Like, Bud's on some shit. He keep moving the goalposts. He keep
it's all Bud, right? It's all Crawford,
at this point, it is.
Right.
No. So if Spence is not at the table and he's not talking, then how you going to say it's Spence's fault?
Because you can negotiate your way or put out terms to make the other guy walk away. It doesn't take one guy. It's just because Crawford walked away from this negotiation doesn't necessarily mean it's his fault.
So
put out shitty terms,
y'all ain't bring up the topic.
Y'all ain't bring up that shit on me.
Y'all ain't bring up the topic that out of Bud's own mouth, he said, "Yo, we started negotiating this Spence Bud fight in May."
He said he started talking to Al in May.
Talking to Allen, mate, but then start talking to BLK in June. But then in his interviews, he's saying, "Man, we was going back and forth, and it didn't work out, so I went somewhere else." Nah, motherfucker, you was with somebody else the whole negotiation.
Yeah, I don't know about that shit. Yeah, I don't know about that shit though, and I question every single your take. Whenever it comes to anything on Crawford, it's very, very tough for me, Randy, to believe that you are objectively looking at anything that he says or does. If you say so,
I don't understand when I'm quoting what he says. I don't understand.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you when it comes to anything. Your take on anything Crawford does, I don't believe that shit. You could be right, but I'm not gonna believe it till I see it myself.
So when I sent you the link that Crawford said that he wasn't going to fight Bud at 157 and he wasn't going to fight him at 154, you're going to be like Randy on some shit.
Absolutely. When it comes to Crawford, you are full of shit until proven otherwise. I don't believe anything you say when it comes to this dude. You've proven to be totally unreasonable and unobjective when it comes to Crawford. It's all his fault. Everything he does is full of shit. It's crazy. So you can't.
You don't think Spence has done anything like?
No, absolutely not.
But Jared, you just corrected my quote. He said he was in the negotiation. He was talking to Al since May, right?
Oh, you said he was just talking to Al in May. That's what Crawford said, I believe. Yes.
So and then he said he was talking to BLK since June.
If you say so, I don't remember. I don't recall that. I gotta go look. You could be
you
right,
heard
Randy.
that he was talking to him.
What point does that prove, though?
Huh?
What point does that prove? He was talking to BLK in June. What point does that prove?
It just, I'm just saying that he said that he was negotiating in good faith until he got nowhere, and then he decided to go switch and then talk to BLK Prime. But that he was talking to BLK Prime the whole time.
Told you the whole time. He first, once he talked to them, when he got contacted by those people, he went to Spence directly and said, "Hey, we got this, blah blah blah, that." And then he said that he actually talked to Al Heyman himself. Right.
We can go back and litigate this later. We spent a lot of time on this. I'll go back. I really haven't looked at it that closely because like Cam said, we ain't getting a fight. I haven't really looked at it that closely. I'll go back and forensically examine all the statements and all that shit, man. We can bring this shit back up.
Bullshit, man.
With that said, always remember to hit that like button and subscribe and keep it popping with the pundits of pugilism. This is your man, Professor Nam, signing out for the Casual Rand.
Peace.
In Boston, Jared.
Peace.
And we are out.